Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of True Dungeon Talk with Trent. My name is Trent of TrentTokens.com. I'm a big fan of the game called True Dungeon and an avid collector of tokens. Today is a very special episode. It's so special I took a shower, and I normally only take a shower once a month, whether I need it or not. So that's how special today's episode is. The episode today, we're going to be interviewing the one, the only Laurie Martin, the mother of True Dungeon. Everyone, please welcome Laurie Martin. Oh, the crowd goes wild. Listen to that applause. Hello, Laurie, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Trent. Thanks for having me. I also shower, so there we go. We both smell good today.
Wow. We smell good today. That's a beautiful thing. I have been hoping to get you on the show from the very beginning, and I'm so happy that we were finally able to get the schedules to line up. So thank you so much for doing this. It's a special treat for me, and I know my one or two fans will also think it's amazing too. So speaking of fans, welcome to everyone. Let me just say hello to everyone in chat here. Hello, Scott, Gil Stripes, Kim, Krista, Glenn, Chad, Boo, Krista, John, Eric. Hello, everyone, and thank you all so much for. Glenn says you smell much better this time. See, even Glenn, thank you for noticing. Krista says hello, Laurie, and Gil Stripe says woo, Laurie. Let's see. John says. He's got a question already. Okay, we'll hold those questions. Speaking of questions, everybody get those questions in the chat, and I'm going to try to get to as many of those as possible. But first, algorithm stuff. Do the liking and subscribing and sharing with your friends and enemies. It's really helpful for the show. I really appreciate that. And speaking of subscribers, everyone, please stay to the end of the show because we're going to be doing a special drawing with a special gift directly from Laurie to one lucky subscriber. So Laurie, I have no idea what this is going to be. It's going to be awesome. This is something she surprised me with, so we even shot like a second promo. It was amazing. So I'm very happy that you're going to be doing something special to one of our subscribers, and again, thank you for that. But I will. First off, I have some icebreaker questions. Would you mind for a couple of icebreaker questions? Some breaking of the ice. All right. So everyone again in the chat, Falcor, hello. Belinda, hello. Mr. Timothy, hello. David, hello. Thank you all. Falcor, Eric, lots of people here. Thank you all for joining in. All right, here we go. There are only one correct answer to each of these questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite color?
Purple.
Correct. Favorite book or movie?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Also correct. Last show, by the way, book and a movie. The last show you binged watched?
1883.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say correct because I haven't seen it yet.
It's great.
Okay, all right. There you go. You heard it here first. Watch 1883. Oh, that's right. I think I have seen the promos for that.
Precursor, I guess, to Yellowstone.
Ooh, okay. I've seen the promos, but not the show. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay, also correct. Name of your first pet?
Jeff? No. Oh God, I don't know.
Incorrect. All right, moving on. Favorite type of music?
Funk.
Okay, correct. Favorite food?
Steak.
Oh, very, very correct. Favorite hobby?
Crafting.
All right, that's neutral. You're supposed to say True Dungeon, but that's fine. We'll say that. Is it True Dungeon your favorite hobby?
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite hobby.
All right, no, you can have your own favorite hobby. That's fine. Speaking of you are, I consider, and I think many consider, the mother of True Dungeon. And for those watching live, we all know that tomorrow is Mother's Day. And if you're watching in the future, this was taped. Is that a word nowadays? Recorded? One day before Mother's Day. So happy early Mother's Day to you.
you.
And do you have any plans for Mother's Day, or does your family do anything special for Mother's Day?
Well, I'm actually in Florida and they're all in Illinois. So I'm flying home Monday. So I will be quasi alone tomorrow, which is actually usually what I do when I'm home. I usually plant stuff and Jeff just makes sure I have 3 meals that I didn't cook, clean up, or have to think about, and which means he orders out 3 times. And yeah, usually I just kind of spend the day. I usually spend the day planting and working in the garden and stuff. So I'll probably spend the day finishing up the little jobs around here, and then yeah. And I'm actually going out to lunch with a really good friend from Carbondale. Her parents live here, and so we're going out for lunch tomorrow.
Wow. So I see that Jeff and I do the same thing. I tell my wife I'm going to cook. And anytime I say that, it means I'm going to order something. And then every single time, not half the time, 75, 99%, 100% of the time, I say, well, what do you want? I'm going to order for you. What do you want? Whatever you want. So then we just order something I want, right? And if I try to order something that I think she likes, she looks at it and goes, I don't like this. And I was like, well, if you would have told me what you liked, then you would, So yeah, I don't know if that happens in your house, but that's what happened here.
That's like a 90% of married couples have that thing. I don't know. It's yeah. What do you want? I don't care. How about this? No, not that. Well, you don't care. So yeah.
Right. If you say you don't care, I believe you, but I know it's only half true. But speaking of my wife and Mother's Day and all kinds of amazing things that she does. She's an amazing cook, which you would think, oh, well, that's amazing. You get to enjoy the food. The problem is she's ruined restaurants for me. There's no restaurants that are any good anymore. I used to love going to restaurants and watching movies. Those are my entertainment things. Now I can't do that anymore because she's just such a good cook. She puts all the restaurants to shame.
Yeah, so I'm a little picky when it comes to a restaurant myself because I do like to cook. So yeah, it's for me, that's why I said steak, because I like a really good, just a really well-prepared steak. And yeah, so that's, and that's like, for me, I have to plan that. I have to get it thought out and, and so yeah, that's a nice thing at a restaurant.
New York, which is where I live, there's a ton of wonderful steak restaurants here. I have a couple of favorites. Have you ever been to New York and had some of the steak restaurants here?
Actually, Jeff and Avery and I met Drake there in September of 2019. So we went there and saw a show at Madison Square Garden. And I don't think we ate at any steak places when we were there, though. We ate at a couple like little neighborhood Italian restaurants in Manhattan and some stuff like that.
Well, next time you guys come, let me take you to a steakhouse. I have plenty of favorites here.
Sweet, I'll take you on that.
Yeah, so let's see. John says, congratulations on your Florida home away from home.
Thank you.
And Belinda has a question. I'm going to hold that question. Belinda, we'll get to that. Kim, that's another good question. I see some other questions. Oh, Belinda says True Dungeon is her job, not her hobby. Okay. I thank you, Belinda, for correcting me there.
That's why I struggled with that question, because I don't have time for a hobby because that's the job.
Yeah. If someone asks me my wife's hobby, she likes to knit, but everything she knits is hats for people, for our granddaughter and for other people. So she, it's almost like work, but she seems to like that there.
I did take up knitting and during COVID. So that is probably the biggest crafting that I do now.
What's your favorite thing that you've knitted?
I just like the blankets. I like knitting a blanket because it takes a while. And I've knit a few blankets, and I've knit some hats, some scarves, some dishcloths. Yeah.
Do you like the sense of accomplishment after you're done to sit there and go, I did that?
It's really weird to me that you can take this string and then you have a blanket.
Yeah. My wife, sometimes I'll just see her with a big ball of yarn or whatever it's called and a couple of sticks, and then I come back a couple hours later and it's a thing. I'm like, you are a witch. This is witchcraft, I
always wonder about like who's the first person that was like, hey, if you did this and then like
I guess back in the caveman times, twine and bark shoes.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these things I think about. Who was the first person to try that? It fascinates me.
Yeah, me too. I always wonder.
Online and find that out, but
Yes.
it's just
Somebody look that up for us. I assume bacon was discovered from lightning, or if a pig walked over fire. I wonder, where did bacon come from? Because man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Timothy has a question. We're going to get to that question. The Leisure Liaison has a wonderful, that's Yancey, if I'm not mistaken.
That is.
So, yeah, these are some good questions that we're going to, John
I can't
says.
see him. That's so unfair.
Oh, crappity duty time. I forgot.
Here, it's just me and you as far as I know.
Well, you know what? It is just me and you. All these people aren't really here. That reminds me, I'm gonna lambast myself here live. My program has a new feature in this thing, and I forgot to try it out where you can pull up the chat. So that's my fault. John says
that I don't know there's people here.
Yeah. Well, also some of these questions might be rude. Who's that Chad? Rude question. John says you can't beat the Iowa. The homegrown Iowa beef cannot beat.
True.
So you might be right there. All right. So Glenn has a question that would work here because I've got blocks of questions time. So all of you who have questions, I'm going to get to them. Glenn has a question. Don't know. Wow. He says, don't know if they have kids. We're going to talk about your kids today. But if so, what was your most memorable Mother's Day gift from one of her kids? Which now you're going to tell us which is your favorite because, it was only one. That's the question.
Okay. I'm going to confess something.
All right. Confession.
Confession time.
Yeah, there you go. So my mom passed away in 2009. And so for most of my kids' lives, like Avery wasn't even 3 when my mom passed away. So for pretty much all of my kids' lives, I'm like, Mother's Day, no, just no. I just want to be left alone because to me, Mother's Day was something that I celebrated with my mom. It wasn't about me as a mom. So, yeah, I mean, I like all the little things, like the school's always really good about doing something and, making like a little flower pot with their handprint on it or something.
Oh, okay. When they were kids.
Like that. Yeah, I like those little homemade things. But
yeah, the little turkey thing for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. I think usually I just ask them to do something for me, like without bitching about it. Like just they do it.
One day a year, do something without bitching.
Yeah. Acts of service is a big thing for me. So I'm like, if you could just do this and not complain about it, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
that would be great. Okay, so now we know. John says bacon came from pigs, so we know that. Lynthia 817 says fishermen, they started the knitting thing with nets. That sounds good. Yeah. I like it. And Chris looked this up, I'm assuming, or just knew it from his. Oh, by the way, Chris is smart. Steve's son. Steve?
Not so smart. Handsome, not so smart.
But Chris is smart. Chris says knitting was started in the 5th century somewhere in the Middle East. Don't know who started it exactly. Wow, man, perhaps fishermen in the Middle East.
Makes sense.
Okay, so Steve's got a good question. All right, so let's get into these questions here.
Okay,
all right,
so
I have some cheat notes over here, or just notes. I have these. This is called the before times. All right, where did you grow up in the world?
I was born and raised in Kewanee, Illinois, which is northwest of Peoria. It's a small town. I don't know, 14,000 people or so. There's actually 2 school districts in the town. So there's a road that cuts across the town, north and south, or it cuts across east-west and splits it. And many years later, I was to meet a man who said that he also lived in Kewanee for a period of time. And I was dishing on the north side because I was from the south side.
Of course, sure.
And then he was like, yeah, I grew up on the north side. And that was my now husband. So I actually lived in the same town small town in Illinois for many, many years and didn't know each other. We met in Carbondale.
Wow, that sounds like a Lifetime movie that we need to make. By the way.
Right? Kinda
Those
gross.
Northerners, those Southerners. All right, so did you come from a big family?
I mean, I guess it depends on, not like 15 kids or something, but I have 3 older brothers. So I was a, I mean,
You're
now
the
I think
baby.
it's called a bonus baby, but I was an oops. So yeah, my parents were in their 40s when they had me. One of my brothers was actually he was in his senior year of high school when I was born. I was born in February. He graduated in May. My other brother,
Wow.
we were like 13, 16, and 18 years apart.
Amazing.
13, 15, 18, yeah.
So you were definitely the baby. I assume you got away with everything.
I did. It was awesome. I still do.
Still do. Okay, that's great. Were you and your family, did you guys do any type of gaming? Was gaming a thing growing up?
I mean, I think we probably played some of the typical board games that, you know, families played. Like I remember playing Uno and Monopoly and things like that. But I had never heard anything about Dungeons and Dragons until I started dating Jeff. And so, yeah, and my family is a big card player family. So
Like poker, or what do you mean? Go fish?
Probably the most common game we play is pitch, which a lot of people call high-low jack in the game. And it's 4 people and you have a partner, so it's like 2 against 2. And then another game we play a lot is skit scat or 31. We play that
I
in my
don't know
family
these
for
names.
quarters. We play for quarters, but a lot of people play for more money than that. But we just do it for fun.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So how about school? Did you do any further school past high school? And if so, what did you study?
Yeah. So when I graduated, I went to the junior college at home for a year, and then I decided to go to SIU Carbondale, basically because it was just really far away from home, and I just wanted to get out there and like experience life a little bit. So
Yeah.
I took off and moved to Carbondale. And then when my parents were about to leave, I was like, oh shit, what am I doing? Like, I don't know anybody. That was a little crazy. But yeah, I met lots of great people. I have some of my, really close friends even to this day I met during that time. And I had a great time. I had too good of a time probably for my first few years there. And then I met Jeff, I guess after I graduated. No, I met him when I was in school because we met at a movie theater. I got a job at the movie theater. He was the manager. Sexually harassed me, basically.
Oh my God, that's terrible. And he talked about D&D, and you still stayed. What were you thinking?
I don't know. Actually, it was funny because we were dating and I was working somewhere else at that time because, managers couldn't date rank and file people or whatever. So, so I was working somewhere else, and I said something about that him and his friends were gaming, and this girl that I worked with said, like at the, at the gambling boats were kind of a big thing at, and she's like, oh, like at the boat. I said, no, like they play some game, Dungeons and Dragons. And she's like, you know what that is, don't you? And I'm like, no.
Uh-oh.
She goes, oh, he's a devil worshiper. I'm like, he seemed like such a nice guy too.
Oh no.
So then she tells me all this stuff, the typical, like,
Sure.
has no clue, but knows everything about it. So then the next time I saw him, I was like, so what did you guys do? And was trying to like feel out the situation to see how much he really knew. And so finally I just asked him, I'm like, hey, this lady at work said this. And he's like, no. And he explained to me what the deal was. So
wow.
It was funny because, yeah, I thought, man, kind of liked that one too. So, but,
wow. And I find that so interesting because at that moment you could have decided, I'm not going to talk to that guy ever again. And everything would have been different about your whole life. Isn't that amazing how those brief
So many
moments?
things in my life I think that about, like this could be totally different.
Me too. I love those little, forks in the road where you know, this takes you to a whole nother place. Right. Wow. Very, very cool to hear that. So there's a couple of people here that love these card games. Chris likes Scat. John likes 4-point pitch. Steve loves Skit Kat as well. Steve says he plays with dimes. Chad says SIU is horrible, so I assume it means it's a great place.
Well, it's because he's a Northern Iowa boy, so that's why.
Those Northern Iowas, who nobody likes them. Glenn loves 31. They play for points. Winner at 500. So easy to play while chatting/talking. Takes almost no brain power. Oh, maybe I would be good at this game if there's not a lot of brain power. So you mentioned Jeff, and one of my questions was, how in the heck did you meet? So you answered that at a movie theater. And I also wrote down, why didn't you run the other way when you met him? So I still want to know that. Why? What in the world were you thinking? I mean,
well,
ridiculously handsome.
We're working together, and one of my roommates at the time was like an assistant manager at the movie theater. And she was like adamant that I don't date him because he will break your heart and it will be horrible.
The heartbreaker.
And I was like, whatever. I don't even like him. And she's like, no, don't even talk to him because you're going to talk to him and he's going to be charming and it's just going to be horrible. I've seen it time and time again. I'm like, okay. So he did something really sweet for me.
Here it is.
Yeah, he did something really sweet. I had gone up north to go home, and a friend of mine from college was leaving to go back home and wasn't coming back to SIU. And so then when I came back, I drove straight back to the theater to work. And Jeff knew that I had come straight there from up north. And so he couldn't leave the building, so he sent someone out to get me dinner because he knew that I had, hadn't eaten or whatever. And it was just really nice. And then I kind of felt like, so then he said, well, I said, let me pay you for, he's like, no, you could just take me to lunch sometime. I'm like,
that was the hook right there.
Yeah, but I knew that roommate was going to be like mega pissed if she knew. So I made a deal with my other roommate, like keep her out of the place when he comes to get me. So she doesn't know.
Lots of conniving going on here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get busted for no reason. So he had a Mazda Miata, which was a very distinct sounding exhaust.
Yep.
So I knew if she heard that, like she was going to be, she was not going to be happy with me.
Wow.
So we went on a date and we had lunch, and we had lunch out at Giant City Lodge, which is a really beautiful place in Carbondale, south of Carbondale. And this horrible storm blew in, and there's like trees flying. So clearly you don't want to be driving around in a Mazda Miata. So we just sat there and drank coffee and talked. And then when the storm finally passed through, we went and drove home kind of the long way through the beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I got home,
there's more.
She heard him. She heard the exhaust. And I walked in and she was like, who are you with? Mom being there. And I was like, just with a friend,
nobody special.
You were with Jeff Martin. And I wouldn't even look at her. I was like, no, I wasn't. It's like, you were with Jeff Martin, and now you're going to fall in love with him, and he's going to do nothing but hurt you.
Oh, my God.
No, he's not.
Amazing. This Lifetime movie is getting good, by the way.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna watch this later and just write all this down in the script. It's gonna be
there you go.
Great. All right, so Chris has got a good question. Glenn says Jeff still breaks the occasional heart during token development.
He does.
So, Chad says Jeff Martin Heartbreaker shirts coming soon. Oh my God. That storm you mentioned, I think that was God trying to warn you, but you just were like, nope. You know, it's
either that or it was like trying to make us stay in the same place.
What a positive way to look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, you might be right there. So how, if I may, this is, I don't know if other people are curious. I'm curious about this. John wants to know, did that roommate come to your wedding? That's a good question, John.
No.
Do you want to call that person out now and tell them to, to go to heck?
I mean, sure. Laura Corkery, if you're out there, we're still married and we have 2 kids and still in love after all these years.
Called out that person to her. All right. So may I ask, how did he propose? And if so, how did that happen? Or did you guys just go, let's go do it? Oh my God. Is there a story? Here we go.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff does not do stuff in a little way. He doesn't just, he does things in a big way. So he had this whole story that we were going to go to St. Louis to see these friends of ours. So I had to pack a bag. And then when he picked me up, he said that one of them was sick and had to cancel. And so he's like, let's just go out to dinner. And I was like, let's just forget it. Like I was so non-cooperative the whole night. It was horrible. And so he, finally talked me into, let's just go. And so we went out to Giant City Lodge where our first date was. And we had dinner and he was just acting weird. And I could not figure out what he was acting so weird for. Mm-hmm. It was actually election night. So there was nobody there. There was one table of international students and they may have spoken English, but they were not speaking English at the table to one another. So he had this whole thing, I guess, built up in his head, how he was going to stand up and he was going to do this in front of the whole room full of diners, but there was no one there dining except for these 4 folks who weren't speaking English. And he's like, okay. So all I see is he's acting weird. Okay. So then after dinner, then I'm like, I know what's going on. This son of a bitch is going to dump me. That's what this
son
is all
of a
about.
Bitch.
Yep. I'm like,
you're getting ready. You're like, all I've done for you. And another thing.
Like, stone face, don't care. Wasn't going to show it. I was like, so we went upstairs. There's kind of a I don't know if you call it like a loft or anyway, you go upstairs and there's a big open space and you can walk around in that. And we were up there and he stops and he's like trying to talk to me. And I'm like, this bitch is dumping me. So I'm like in my head, I'm thinking of all the things like, I just go batshit crazy on him and like punch him or something. Or like, what am I going to do? How am I going to play this out?
Push him over the thing,
push
maybe?
Push him over the balcony.
Hell yeah, he deserves it.
That was on the table.
Absolutely.
Because there's a big deer head right under that. So he's getting killed by the antlers.
Love it.
So I'm going through all this in my head and he's talking and I'm thinking how, and then I look because he stopped talking and I look and he's like, well, and I'm like, what? Because that's what I was thinking. And then he kind of looked down in his hands and he had this ring box open with this diamond ring. And I'm like, shit, I just missed all of that.
You missed the proposal because you would think he was breaking up with you.
Yeah. And I was ready for it. I was going to be just really cool, play it cool.
Yeah.
And yeah. But
play it cool by impaling him on deer antlers.
Cool.
Did you make him repeat the proposal or did you just kind of play along?
No, I mean, I told it. I am not he'll say poker face Martin because I cannot. I'm the worst. Yeah, what's going on. So yeah, I told him, I was like, I have no idea what. I mean, obviously you're asking me to marry you, but what did you say before that? Because I thought you were dumping me. And he's like, what?
Oh my God.
Why would you think that? But I Yeah. I also thought he was trying to kill me in Hawaii too. So, and that was like 8 years ago or 9 years ago. So I'm just
Should we jump to that story now or save it?
when you get there, we'll get there. But
Okay,
yeah, so that's how he proposed. And so the whole deal with the friends going to meet him in St. Louis and pack a bag, that was because while we were having dinner, he had his brother and I think another friend. I can't remember who else it was, but it was Doug and someone else, I think. They took our bags from the car. He had a room. He had one of the cabins there reserved. And then they had like candles lit to the walk up to the cabin.
Yeah.
So even then, I'm still like, this just shows you how completely stupid I can be. Because after dinner, after the whole debacle, and then we're walking around, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And then he's like, come here, let's go over by this cabin and look at your ring in the candlelight. I'm like, no, there's people in there. Like we can't do that.
Wow.
It's real. It's real.
Oh
so,
my
yeah,
God.
Sometimes I'm just such a blonde. It's
That's amazing.
And
I
that
think,
was our cabin, and all our stuff was in there. And
but what if you would have said no? Did he have a backup plan? Did he ever think about that? Maybe.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he thought I would say no because, we were pretty clear about our feelings for one another. But
Okay.
I was like, you never know when he's going to change, and so he might be dumping me.
And then that lady or the roommate from years ago would have turned out correct. So I think this might be one of the many reasons that Jeff and I get along, because I'll try to be brief, but I want to share something somewhat similar. I told my future wife, I said, hey, my work has a party. Actually, I told her 2 months in advance. I'm a planner. I plan everything out. So 2 months prior to this, I said, oh, by the way, there's going to be a work party, so we need to dress up, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be at the Empire State Building. There's a restaurant down there. It's going to be great. And this is normal because we go to work parties like this all the time, or at least once or twice a year. And so the time comes, we're looking nice, we get to the Empire State Building, and we go through the front door, and there's a restaurant over there, and I wave, to no one because it's not true, and I wave, and I even mention, I was like, oh, there's my friend, my coworker, hey, how you doing? Oh, we'll be right back, and I said, oh, they said that we can all go up to the top and look around, and then we're going to come back down and go have dinner. So we go to the top of the Empire State Building. It's windy, it's cold, it's not super romantic, but this was how I have it planned. And I asked her to marry me then, and she said, wait, what about the work party? And I was like, oh, that's not true. There's nobody down there. She goes, but I'm hungry. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Let's go find some food. So she says yes, of course, and we take some photos, and then I take her down a road that I had intended where there was a bunch of restaurants, and we stopped at each little restaurant. I was like, well, how about this one? I said, you choose, honey. You choose the restaurant. But I knew she would say, oh, I don't care, whatever you want. I knew she would say that. So we said that at every restaurant. And then we get to the one where I had something planted, and she goes, no, not this one. And I think, oh, great. Now you say no to the one that I've got planned? And I was like, but this one's got the French onion soup. It's nice and warm because it's kind of chilly. She goes, okay, let's go in. So we go in, I do the wink to the door person. They take us to the table. There's flowers waiting on us. The chef brings us a special thing. Congratulations. The strawberries, one strawberry had a tuxedo, and the other strawberry had a little wedding dress.
How cute.
Yeah, congratulations and chocolate. It was great. So. And I wrote her, I like to write poetry, so I wrote her a little card that did a callback to a poem. And, it's like a little special moment between us. So she starts crying because she's reading the card and thinking about the poem that I wrote. And then the person doing water comes over and is about to give us water, and then sees her crying and, turns around and leaves because obviously I've done something to make her cry. But, it was tears of joy. Yeah, Jeff and I apparently like to trick people into making them love us and marry us. Yeah. So he's, I guess, one of the many reasons I like him. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
And let's see. So What? Belinda says Jeff's an old-fashioned romantic. How sweet. Mr. Thomas says his backup plan was to get tossed off a balcony. So that's great. All right, so now I have to move on because I've got a bunch of questions and we've got a lot of great questions in the chat as well. So actually, you know what? Let's get to the chat questions here. And thank you all for waiting. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top. John says, will we have Gen Con volunteer badges by this weekend in order to buy event tickets? Uh-oh. You made her angry, John.
Email me which John this is.
John. Oh, no. I don't think he'll mind. It's John, because his name is public here. John Olinger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's John and Spud are usually a pair, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's correct. So theoretically, yes. So volunteers have to have confirmed their schedule for me to get them a badge. So if I do my job, yes, but I can't do my job unless they've done their job. And
Okay.
I will be the first to admit that I have not been doing a great job at my job the last week because I've been here. So
Okay. All right. So make sure you've confirmed your schedule, John. All right. So I'm scrolling down. More questions. Belinda says, I know you are super busy, but are there any updates you can share on the program/timing for SkullCon and the SkullCon patron run?
yes. So again, the last week, well, probably like week and a half, 10, 14 days, has been a bit of a wash for me because I've not been working. So I am getting ready to send out a confirmation to all of the registrants so that everybody will know. A lot of people just I don't think that they believe that theirs has gone through because they haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So I'm going to send out yes, I've got your information. I know you're good there. And then Tuesday, because I fly home Monday, Tuesday, after Jeff and I dump Drake off to go to Europe for a study abroad,
Nice.
we're going to be having a meeting and going over a lot of SkullCon stuff. So
Okay. Great. Awesome.
next week, next week, because this is Saturday. So next week will be a big work week to get lots of stuff done for both Gen Con and SkullCon and V11 and all the things.
Yeah. So everybody stay tuned. Next week is going to be a big week of information
I've been a
coming.
huge slacker lately, I'll admit.
It's okay. We understand. Kim asks, Laurie, do you have a favorite True Dungeon moment? Great question, Kim.
Gosh. This is going to sound really bad, I think, because there's a lot of them. There's been so many things that have happened that are just heartwarming, and like the Make-A-Wish kid, and they did the run with him, and the weddings and the proposals, and there's been so many things that are just really amazing things that have happened that you kind of feel like it's really crazy that this is a thing that we've created, and people are so passionate about it that they want to share those moments of their lives within the game. But I'm going to be selfish, and I'm going to say probably my most favorite True Dungeon moment is when I actually played the one time I've played. And I got a call at Gen Con from someone because it was their stepkid's 21st birthday. And the kid wanted to do True Dungeon, and this person was famous. And so he was like, is there any way you can, I know it's sold out, is there any way? And I said, I looked at stuff and I said, okay, just show up this day, this time, and we'll get you in. And so they didn't have 10 because some of the friends backed out. So at the last minute, they were like, just, go with them. So, and they were like, yeah, go with us. So he thought that I would know stuff. And so his wife was not a gamer. So his wife and I were kind of like hanging back, just chit-chatting, and he was clearly very competitive. And so they're all into it, and they're talking about this one puzzle, and it was a thing where you had to like cross the floor on the certain tiles.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, for God's sake, I'm just like, get shit done. I'm like get shit done kind of person. So they're like, it could be this, it could be that. And so I'm like, I go across. Nope, not it. So then his wife's like, she goes across. He's pissed now because we're just like,
you both did it wrong. Was this maybe 2014? Was it a snake thing?
I don't know. It was in the exhibit hall. I know that much. It was in the exhibit hall. It was in the one all the way towards the baseball stadium, all the way towards the JW. That's A, I think.
Okay, never mind.
So,
I shouldn't have asked that.
So then at finally one point, he's like, don't you know this? Like, what is the answer? I'm like, I don't know. He said, well, doesn't he talk about this stuff? And I said, yeah, but I don't listen to him. So we get to the end, and all through the run, there's clearly people that are like volunteers and stuff are like looking behind the curtains and so finally I said something to a DM. I'm like, hey, tell them to knock it off. Like, it's, yeah, I get it. He's famous and whatever, but it's, I don't want this to be like a thing for him.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yep. Got it.
So, and they're like, they're not looking at him. They're watching you. I'm like, oh God, that's even worse. Because now I look like a dumbass. So when we come out of the dungeon, out of the epilogue, there's just all these people out there, tons of them, like volunteers. I don't even know if anybody was running the dungeons. I think they all just abandoned ship and they were all out there. And they're chanting my name.
Oh, no.
We stopped. There's all these people, and then they're chanting my name, and he was right next to me. And I just looked at him, and he's like, I said, how does it feel to not be the most famous person in the room? And he goes, it's a little weird, actually. And so we all had a good laugh and took some pictures.
That's great.
It was really funny.
Wow. That's very, 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 very cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. Very cool story. All right, so let me go back to the chat here. Let's see, where are we? Okay, Glenn says, are we going to be able to guess Laurie's TD account password after all these questions? I think so, Glenn, because all those icebreaker questions. Mr. Tomothy says, what are you doing in Florida? Question mark.
So I came to Florida with some girlfriends for my 50th birthday party, girl trip. And I loved the area. And I thought, wow, it would be really awesome to have a place here and rent it out. And so when I went home, I was like, hey, we should do this. And Jeff was like, no. So then that was in February. And then in March, I said, hey, we have a few days and Avery's on spring break. Let's go down to Florida and you could like check out the area. I'll show you what I love. And he's like, okay. So we came down here and he's like, yeah, I don't like it.
Strike two. Okay. I'm yep.
Yeah. So then I would not relent, as I sometimes do when I get a wild hair.
Okay.
And so, yeah. So then I kept like sending him houses like, hey, look at this one. Look at this one. This would be a good. And so then we had a discussion about it. And he was, he's pretty clear that he was not on board with this. And so I was like, okay, and I just thought, whatever. And then I kind of thought, you know what? No, because this is really important to me. And I feel like it's really, it's a good investment, I hope. So we had another discussion about it. And I told him how important it was to me. And that so then he said, well, let's just, make some lowball offers. And if we can pick something up, at a good deal. And it doesn't, to me, I thought, well, there you go, because the market's not really like that here right now. Mm-hmm. So he said, pick a couple that you want to make lowball offers on, and we'll just see what happens. So this one there was two I chose to make offers on. And this one was one because it had come on the market. I had seen it and I really loved the house. And then, of course, 3 days later, it was pending. And then it had come back on the market, and they had dropped it $49,000 from the original price.
Wow.
So we made an offer. We talked to the realtor, found out that they had 2 contracts fall through, and were probably really, they were wanting to move. They weren't just, they were living here and trying to get out. You could tell that from the photos. So we made them an offer of $50,000 less than that, and they took it.
Wow. Unbelievable. So now that's your rental and vacation home.
Yep, it is we'll come down occasionally, hopefully more than not, and we'll rent it, Airbnb it the rest of the time. So
beautiful. All right. So good question, Mr. Timothy. Okay. So now we're at Yancey's question. Who is your favorite volunteer? Okay. You heard it. You heard it here first. And is it Yancey?
I mean, it's Drake and Avery Martin, obviously.
Okay. So she's bailing on that question, Yancey. Sorry. Yeah. And let's see. Let me go. I'm going down the list here. Steve says, where is your favorite place to host TD and why?
I feel like that's a question that could get me in trouble, but that's never really stopped me before. So the why is probably going to explain it better. I really like Gamehole Con in Madison, just because that is a show that, because of the size and the scope of it and everything, I can just enjoy that show. I can enjoy being there. Gen Con is really fun and it's cool and it's crazy, but I go to the hotel and I go to to my office on site, and I go back to the hotel, and I don't.
So you're working too much to enjoy it.
Yeah. So Gamehole Con is just a little bit easier, I guess, for me, for lack of a better term. So I can, enjoy it. I usually pick up a lot of holiday gifts there in the exhibit hall because I can go through the exhibit hall. I don't think I've been in the exhibit hall at Gen Con for since maybe 2010, 11. I don't know. Wow. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, Gen Con can get overwhelming. There's so much to do. I have sometimes gone into the exhibit hall just at the front, look, through the doors and gone, wow, this is great, and take 3 pictures, left, center, right, and then go back to all the things I got to do.
Yeah, and I can get a good amount of gifts in the exhibit hall at Gamehole Con in an hour. And in an hour in there, I can't even, I think you have to spend a lot, that exhibit hall is like going to Disney. You need time in there. So it's a much more relaxed show for me. I've never been to PAX West, so I can't count that one because I've never been there.
I've been there a couple times. It's nice. Yeah.
So I did enjoy South. I liked that a lot just because I think San Antonio is nice. We always would stay out a little bit on the Riverwalk and use the volunteer rooms that were close for the volunteers because I liked that walk in the morning.
It is nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very cool one as well. All right, so let's move on to our next question here. Chris says, what was your reaction when Jeff turned the hotel room into a dungeon the first time?
He told me about it and I thought it was cool. It was a cool idea because I thought, well, this is taking his little Jeff Con thing to a whole different level. And the guys really liked it. But never, first of all, I thought, great, we're going to be paying for some damaged stuff to a hotel room because he's asking them to, he's like, can you take the beds and the couches and all the stuff out? And yeah, it seemed a little crazy, but there's gauges of crazy in our life, and it was pretty low on the crazy scale, honestly. So, but I did think he was legit batshit crazy when we were standing in an exhibit hall in Indianapolis at the Hyatt, and we were standing in one corner and the Gen Con folks were standing in the opposite corner, and he's like, yeah, I can do this. I'm like, are you serious? And I mean, I don't know if he may remember this differently than I do, but I remember just saying, are you in over your head here? And he was like, yeah, we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah. I love it.
I mean,
love it.
I remember coming off the elevator at the Hyatt, and it was probably day 2, I guess, of the first year there. And I was pushing Drake in a stroller, and Jeff and I were just kind of like casually walking. And that walkway kind of curved around, and there were people lined up all along that thing. And we're like, what, we're just like walking, not really registering there's people there. And then it was like, wait, there's people, what are they doing here? So Jeff went and asked them, what are you guys in line for? Because he's thinking there must be something up here before you get to the dungeon. And they said, oh, there's this game and it's called True Dungeon. And he just looked at me, and we were like, oh shit. And that was when I thought, okay, this is like clearly a thing.
That's amazing. You seem to be more surprised than all of us at its success. But as only one person, I can tell you it brings such great joy. I think there's a number of reasons why. I think the camaraderie, the teamwork aspect of it. There's something for everyone. For the crazy nut like me, there's the collecting. For the someone who loves puzzles, there's puzzles. I also like the story. So there's the story you can play with. There's combat. Right. There's D&D elements. Some people can even do light cosplay or a lot of cosplay if they want.
Right.
It's something for everyone. It's just an amazing. It's also escape room-y. Right. It was like an escape room before escape rooms.
Like that's the community to me is just like, that's when I think about that, that's really what just sets it apart for me from anything else, is like somehow this thing that's like morphed into a job is full of like the best people that we would have never met had this not happened, and I mean, there are people who are very important people in our lives now, and that just that grew out of this thing that grew into our jobs. It blows my mind when I sit back and think about it, honestly, because it grew so organically and just like kind of this like little whim, and it's just, yeah.
That's great. I think it's the humbleness that I think you both have, and you just exhibited that just now about this big, amazing thing, is another reason I think it succeeded. If there was an aggressive take on this, I don't think it would work for this type of community, which I'm proud to be part of.
It's just who we are. I mean, I when I say that, it's the community and all that, how it's grown. I mean, I'm 100% sincere, because it just, there's people that I consider some of my best friends now that I would have never met them if it wasn't from True Dungeon. So it's really amazing.
And we can all go back to that roommate who said, don't go out with that heartbreaker, Jeff Martin.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that fork in the road. And if at that corner of the ballroom at the Hyatt, if I would have said, are you in over your head? And he was like, yeah, we need to get out of here. Like none of it would have happened. I wouldn't know so many people that we know now. And so thank goodness that Laura didn't scare me off of Jeff. And thank goodness that me saying, are you batshit crazy? Has never scared him off.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, so let's see what other questions we might have here. Okay, so Krista says, I think an important question here for a lot of people. So I'll share this question from Krista. For SkullCon, will mask become mandatory as an extra layer of protection for volunteers and guests since the world state continues to change?
That's a really hard question for me to answer for guests because I'm not in control of the venue. So for any show in the future, I can't say what the venue is going to require because I just don't know that. And I'm not at any place, I'm not taking the entire venue. So I can't tell the venue that they have to require things of our attendees. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But the volunteers, I do have the ability to, like for Gen Con, you have to show proof of vaccination. You have to be vaccinated to be a volunteer. I'm responsible for putting people in hotel rooms together, and I can't do that. Just personally, I can't do that if I'm not sure that I'm making the precautions, to be safe. I think it's really comes down to the masks for volunteers, I guess, is the real question. That is going to come down to any mandate by us as a company will be determined by the situation locally at that point in time. So,
Okay.
Yeah, because right now they're not required at Walker's Bluff for SkullCon. But we're a month or so out and a lot can happen in that amount of time. So I will be blatantly honest about this. I have literally not watched any TV or read any news stuff for at least a week, probably since like last Thursday or Wednesday. So a week and a half almost. So I know that some numbers are ticking up. Jeff mentioned that the other night when we talked. But, one of my questions with that is what's hospitalizations looking like? Because, I think from talking to friends who are physicians, we'll get to an endemic stage. And, if it's a point where people are positive, but they're not hospitalized, that's kind of where you're getting to that endemic stage. And I would never say to someone that they can't wear a mask. I definitely will wear a mask on an airplane probably for the rest of my life because I always get sick after I fly, and I haven't in, the times I've flown since COVID. So, but yeah, as far as a venue mandate, I can't make that decision. I don't have that ability. But for volunteers in the event, I can.
Yep, understood. Yeah, I think it might be more common in America. I traveled extensively in Asia in a number of countries, and I saw numerous people all the time with masks on. I always wondered, what's wrong? Are they sick? But then I realized that it was that they were actually trying to protect other people, and it's a commonplace thing in many places in Asia, and I think it might become more commonplace here. Moving on to our next question here. Glenn Harper says, question for Laurie. I'm a first-time volunteer for TD at Gen Con. Are there lots of other first-timers, or am I the only one getting hazed?
Okay, first of all, if anybody's hazing you, you need to let me know.
Okay,
no,
let Laurie know.
we do have a lot of first-timers this time. I don't know what a lot amounts to, but we do have first timers. We have, we always have first timers because you're going to have people that aren't attending for whatever reason. And then there's first timers and, eighth timers and 27th timers. And so, yeah, there's a variety. Usually when I'm doing room assignments, if you haven't put someone that you want to room with, I will usually kind of look at the age bracket that you're in, which is probably kind of silly, but I try to think about, okay, like I'll read through a first timer's application a little more thoroughly, like maybe 2 or 3 times before I place them in the hotel assignments, because I'm trying to think like, okay, who of the volunteers do I think that they would get along with well? Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So
no one ever rooms with Chad is what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, no, never.
All right. So Brian says, what was Laurie's favorite dungeon storyline? Oh, you know what? Storyline. What was Laurie's favorite dungeon storyline or theme? Can you answer that? Because I don't think you listened to Jeff talking about the dungeons. I'm wondering if that's a question you can actually answer.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't really answer that. I mean, I know that sounds awful.
Okay.
Probably the one I'm most familiar with is Felurian's Feast, the Felurian dungeon, because I had read the books. So yeah, I was a little more familiar with those. So the rooms almost like made more sense to me because I was familiar with those. And so I think then they kind of stay in my brain a little bit more. But
Got it.
I have this weird thing. I think it's after having kids. Maybe I did it before then. I don't know, which is funny because it's about me remembering stuff. But I don't remember stuff. Jeff says I could hide my own Easter eggs, and that's not a lie.
You and I might be a little similar as well. I can watch a movie and go, oh, I've never seen this. And then 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, oh, wait, I think I have seen this. So it's kind of fun. You can read a book and watch movies and enjoy them a second time.
And that's what Jeff says. He's like, it must be really nice because I can't do that. He remembers everything. It's amazing to me.
Oh, I'm not like that at all.
I am not like that at all. And well, you're clicking through the channels, the whatever. And I'm like, oh, what about that movie? And he's like, we've seen that. I'm like, no, I haven't. You've seen it, but I haven't. He'll pull up the preview. He's like, anything? I'm like, no, you saw that with the kids, or I don't know, not me. And it could literally be like the last 10 minutes. And then I'll go, hey, I do think I've seen this. And he's just like,
oh,
wow.
You poor thing. All right, so let's see here. Moving on to more questions. So we got some comments here. Game Holcon is the best. Eric says, how could Jeff tell you no after all the TD props he's bought over the years? Oh, that's right. So he's saying...
I did kind of, yeah.
House, Dragon, come on,
I'm not going to lie. I did kind of, pull that out of my back pocket.
There you go. You've always got that. John says, when is Jeff, John Olinger, when is Jeff taking TD props to Florida? And Thomas says after Origins.
We have a game room.
There.
Yeah, we do have a game room here.
Okay.
So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. The kitchen and dining room is all open. Kitchen, dining, and living room is all open. But on the front of the house, there's a room that they listed as a den. Mm-hmm. And so we said, let's just make it. It's kind of a, Chad will love this. It's kind of a Saluki, SIU Saluki / game room. So yeah. And when I got down here, actually, I thought, oh my gosh, we have just a huge amount of games that we like that we have, unopened packages of, so that if we play a game, somebody at the house, then we can say, here, take a copy home, enjoy it, have fun. So Jeff packed up this huge box of games and sent it down to me.
Great.
And yeah, we have a game room here.
Awesome. Actually, Thomas was saying Game Holcon is the best, and then after Origins. So I guess Thomas likes Origins the best. Falcor 51 says, True Dungeon coming to Game Holcon got me back because Kid and Gen Con wasn't doable. Yeah, Gen Con can maybe be tough for some people. Thomas then says, John, they are moving to Florida for the permanent dungeon at Disney. Do you have any previews you want to share? Is there going to be a permanent True Dungeon at Disney?
Well, I mean, if Disney's got the cash, we could talk. Actually, right. That is a place that Jeff draws a lot of inspiration. He's done some behind the scenes stuff there at Disney and Universal.
He told me about that. Yeah, how he did some trips behind the scenes.
Yeah. And because there's not like really a True Dungeon escape room owner, there's just nothing.
Conference,
There's not
right.
a trade show, right? So he goes to the haunt shows and he'll do things there, but it's really so different that it's a hard thing to kind of find inspiration or ideas from. And so that's when we go to Disney, he's definitely Disney or Universal, he's making a lot of notes, and he's like, oh, we could do this, and we could
That's great. I'm glad that he enjoys that, because then we get to enjoy it.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, especially the Universal thing, because they do the haunt. They convert everything in the evenings to a haunt in October, and you can do a behind the scenes deal. And he and Mike Lutz have done that a couple times. They've gone down there. Mike was really into that too. So
very cool. All right, so we have another question here from Phil Evans. When will we get Laurie to DM for us?
Never. That would literally be everyone's worst nightmare.
Are you bad with math? I'm horrible with the math, so I could never DM. So,
I mean, I would just fudge the math. I mean, I would like round or something, but that's what I do is math and stuff. But they'd be like, okay, it hits for whatever, and I'd be like, all right. Sure.
All right, so never is your answer. Christopher Fouts, I'm going to say that wrong. I'm sure. I apologize. Good afternoon, everyone. And let's see. TD at Disney, not them getting a house there. Thomas, yes. And John, we just talked about that. Are they wooing Disney for a dungeon? And let's see. Okay, so Christopher missed the part of Florida. If it's okay, would you share where he's moving to Tampa next year? Where in Florida generally are you guys?
Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte
is where the house is. Mm-hmm.
All right, for anybody in the neighborhood. All right, so Krista has a question. If someone is unable to make it to SkullCon due to coming down ill, will there be any way for them to pick up any theoretical cool treasure, or will they miss out completely? They will definitely not miss out. Krista, I already know the answer to this, but Laurie, what would your answer be to that?
So, I mean, I would just say send me an email.
There you go. That's the answer.
Going on, and we'll figure something out.
Yes, for any type of issue or problem with True Dungeon, all you have to do is not email Jeff, and Laurie will take care of it.
You might have to email me like 10 times. But
right. If she doesn't respond within the first 2 weeks, then just try again. This show has been going on over a year, and I've been trying to get Laurie to be on it for that long. So John says Jeff is an Imagineer. I think he would love that.
Yeah, he really is.
So Falcor, I should have found some pictures of this. Falcor 51 says Laurie Gorgon. Do you remember Laurie Gorgon?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Do you remember? Oh, I don't think it was you technically. It would have been Incognito. I think I was killed maybe second, either first or second then. So that was very mean of him. So yeah, what are your memories of Laurie Gorgon? What is Laurie Gorgon for the people who might have missed it?
Well, I mean, that was the patron event, right, at Origins, and first it was the Jeff Gorgon, and then
that was the first year at True Dungeon Celebration in 2017.
Okay, see,
right? I was there.
And then
you were the next year, I think. I think you were the next year.
And then Avery did it. I don't think Drake ever did it, though, did he?
No, I've been waiting for the Drake Gorgon. Yeah. It was you. It was Jeff, then you, then Avery. Yeah. Or was it the Avery one who killed me very quickly? Oh, it might have been that one, because I was using her weapon, and then that was not good to use the Avery's Death Cleaver against her. How rude of me to use that weapon against her. So I was slaughtered immediately.
Yeah. So two weird things about that is I'm not a fan of heights. And
you were high that day.
Yeah. And I couldn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see what was happening.
You were like 20 feet up, if I recall, maybe more.
I don't know. I think it was like 600, but I mean, 20, 600, whatever. It doesn't
was
matter.
not
I
600.
just knew if I fell, I was going to die probably. And God love him. Probably Tiffany did my makeup, because anytime my makeup looks good, it's Tiffany. And I had all this makeup on and I can't see. And then
Oh my
I'm
God.
on this. Yeah.
I remember
Even
someone helping you up there, and now I know why you couldn't see.
Yeah, I couldn't see. And then I think that was, so Drake's band was playing at this Celebration 618, which was like a little festival that they had in Carbondale. And Jeff and I kind of were just like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just let them, they can handle it. Like, we don't have to micromanage these people. We can just bug out and they can handle it. And so we took off and went home. And so Barry Welling was the Laurie Gorgon. And, there's always those who wore it better things. I mean, I think he made a better looking chick than I did.
I didn't know that. So he did one of the Laurie Gorgon runs?
Yeah, so I think it must have been Saturday. We skipped out and went home.
Wow, you were definitely the Laurie Gorgon when I did the run. I think I was one of the first couple ones. I didn't know that he did one of those runs.
Yeah, he did one or two, I think.
What?
And he literally, he looked better than I did. I was like, I feel kind of bad now. Like, I thought I looked good, but he pulled it off way better than I did.
Wow, I did not know that. I love hearing things like that, and that's one of the reasons we have the show. All right, so let's see. Kurt is concerned. You aren't too close to Laz in Florida, are you? If you heard...
No, opposite coasts.
Oh, okay. Opposite coast. Yep, Florida does have a couple of coasts there. Good.
Yep, I'm on the west side. He's on the east side. Actually, I wish I had $1 for every time I had a message similar to that. Because I posted on Facebook that we had bought this house.
Uh-huh.
And then some people commented and other people sent me private messages. That's always my favorite, is when people private message me on Facebook about Chad's stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And I mean, really, if the truth came out about the whole deal with Chad and I mean, it would just make a lot more sense. But a lot of people think that it's very serious. And they, I've had people say like it bothers them that he acts that way and that he's so disrespectful. And I'm like,
that's
really,
that's good stuff.
I just wouldn't marry him. And he just didn't deal with it. And this was before he met Monica, so it's nothing,
Way before, sure.
I was like, no, just leave me alone. Stop flirting with me. Just go.
What are you going to do?
So just been, sad ever since. And he's, he's in love with Monica, and thank God he has her, because now he leaves me alone.
Oh my God. The plot thickens. This is definitely a Lifetime movie in the making here.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. So Falcor says, I healed the Lord Gorgon, and then Trent and I ended up mazed together. Oh yeah. Yeah. And does that mean, Falcor, I think we had to do the little puzzle thing. Is that right? Yeah, that was terrible.
Yes, if you had to do a little puzzle, I couldn't see it, so I have no idea.
We were in we had to go through like a different room when had to do the little puzzle thing, yeah. So that was definitely different.
I probably just saw like shadows shifting and people moving.
you saw nothing because you were 600 feet high and you couldn't see anything. Christopher, the answer is no to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Christopher says, is TD headquarters moving from Carbondale down to Florida?
No, Jeff would die before that would happen.
It's a vacation home and a rental.
Yeah, first of all, this is the place that we're going to come to get away from work, whatever that means.
Uh-huh.
This has been the most non-TD week I've had in a really long time, since COVID started, probably when this shutdown happened. And we were just home binging Tiger King or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's probably why people are asking all these questions about SkullCon, because this 1 week of true Dungeon.
I've so blown that off that I know I'm going to get to it, and I know it'll get done and it'll be done right, but I know all of them don't know that. So I know they're nervous, but I promise it'll get done and it'll happen.
I trust that you'll get to it. All right, so a couple more questions here. Was there a balcony and deer antlers when you were 20 feet high? I think that's a callback. No, there was no balcony or deer antlers there.
There might have been, but I couldn't see them.
It was I think, a black drape. Christopher says, I'm friends with Barry. We used to play vampire in Indy before he moved to Virginia. Very cool. Yeah. It's a small world. Thomas says, I could see Barry in a blonde wig being Laurie Gorgon. I don't know if he was in a wig.
I think he had a black wig on. I think it was a black wig we both wore.
Okay.
And a dress.
Okay. And Falcor does remember, I did it, you just sat there. So what Falcor is saying, Falcor 51, we were mazed. And I just told you earlier that I suck at puzzles. We were mazed, so we had to go into the next room, and there was like paperwork. And it was like puzzle and like hard thinking. I looked at it, and I knew that I would not be able to contribute at all. And I said, listen, I play a barbarian for a reason. I slide the puck, and I hit the thing. That's it. This is smart people stuff. I cannot help you. So I just sat there, and try to cheer him on. But yeah, so that's right. Falcor does remember that. And I completely, tell the truth there. I could not contribute at all. All right. So Thomas says, can the next True Dungeon celebration be in Florida?
I'd have to find a venue, I guess.
And then John says, are there any cons in Florida? I think Google can help you there. And David says it was a logic puzzle or something like that. That's correct. I could not do a logic puzzle. Yancey says you have a photo of Barry in that outfit. If you want to email me that, Yancey, go ahead, and then I'll pull it up on the show. Email it to either of my emails. You have my emails. Speaking of photos, we have a bunch of photos that I wanted to go through. So can we barrel through some of these
Sure.
photos? Christopher says Dice Tower Con is in Florida. All right, so let me go to this photo here. Here is early Laurie and Jeff. What is going on here? What is this photo? Please share.
That is some tall hair.
This is the 90s. I was there. I was in the 90s,
That
so I know.
That was a lift and spray moment. That is 1995, the year that Jeff and I got married.
Oh.
And that is the photo that we put in our Christmas card.
Oh, how sweet is that?
We look like babies. We took that at a friend's house, Rob and Cindy's house, in Carbondale. And we look like babies there. That's crazy.
You look the same. He looks like a child. He looks like he's maybe 15 here. Wow. Okay, so speaking of children, you have 2 children.
I do.
And can you tell us who are these beautiful babies?
So that is Drake and Avery. Avery was a couple months old there. So Drake was 5. He turned 5 about a month after she was born. So that's right after his 5th birthday. And she was just a couple months old there. And that was her general persona right there. She's just kind of looking at you like, I don't think this is the right family for me. I think there's been a mistake.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm curious, if I may ask, why the name Drake and Avery? Where did those names come from, if I may ask?
So for Drake,
were you looking at your watch? Is this a long story?
I thought, it is kind of. So the background here is that once upon a time, before I thought that I really liked this guy too much, he said, hey, if one day we get married and we have a kid and it's a boy and it's on a Thursday, can I name it Thor? I was like, yeah, because there's no way I'm getting married to this guy.
Brandon beat you to that one. Brandon has a Thor.
But mine is older. So we end up getting married and he's like, don't forget, if we have kids. And so then we finally get pregnant after many, many years. And then they say it's a boy. And he's like, yeah, it's going to be born on Thursday, and it's going to name it Thor. And I'm like, no, we are not.
So did you hold it in?
Well, I got induced on a Tuesday.
Uh-oh.
And nothing was happening Tuesday. Nothing happened Wednesday. And nothing was happening Thursday.
Wow.
And so they were starting to talk about C-section.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as happens many times, like the baby's heart rate starts to go down. So at like 10 o'clock at night, my doctor tells me, she's like, hey, we need to take this baby. And I'm like, no.
2 more hours.
Wait, hour and a half. I just need.
Oh, poor Drake.
Yeah, poor Drake. So we did have some friends that they were also expecting at the same time. Their daughters, maybe, I don't know, a month or two older than Drake. And we had dinner one night when we were both expecting, and they said, oh, that, we were talking about, have you talked about names? And they said, yeah, if it's a boy, we're going to name him Drake. And if it's a girl, we're going to name her Faith. And Jeff and I were like, oh, that's a cool name. We hadn't heard that one before, Oh, we're going to steal it. I hope you're having a girl. And she had her ultrasound or whatever, like the next week. And they called us and they said, actually, we are having a girl. And if you want to take the name, it's fine, because we know if we have any more kids and we have a boy, we would name him Jonathan after his father. And so they have 2 kids, Faith and Jonathan, and that's how Drake got his name.
Wow.
I was like, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me name this kid Thor.
That is nothing like.
That would have been a really cool name, Mom. But yeah.
Wow, that is an interesting story. I thought, well, there was a mountain, Draconomius, and nope, you stole it from somebody else.
Yeah, they just stole it.
Okay, how about Avery? Where does Avery come from?
Avery, same thing. Like we went through all these ideas, and we kind of settled on Bella, but Jeff was like, I just don't, I'm not really sold on that. And I even have photos of baby showers, and everything's like, welcome baby Bella. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe a month or less than a month before she was born, we literally went, because he's like, I really don't like it. It sounds like an Italian baby. And while we're not going to have a dark-skinned, dark-haired, dark-eyed baby, we're going to have a blonde-haired, little mini Drake. And so we went A through Z through the girl names, and Avery was the only one we both liked.
Wow.
So
and then
you can't really tell from this picture, but when she was born, she had black hair, she had very olive skin,
and
her
born,
eyes were dark. Yeah.
Yes.
She's got the little hat on there, but yeah, that's when Drake finally got to meet his baby sister.
This is the cutest photo of all time. Look at that beautiful look from Drake.
I love that photo.
And who are the other people in this photo?
My mom is holding Avery, and then behind her, you can see Jeff's mom, Wanda, her legs. She's sitting there.
Very cool. Yeah. So excited. So is Drake normally this nice to Avery?
Yeah, they actually get along really well. I was actually talking to a friend earlier today, and we were talking about, she has a boy and a girl, kind of same age difference, and it's just really, I don't know, I think it's like one of those things that you feel like even when you're gone, if your kids get along, you just kind of know, like, they're gonna be okay.
Speaking of okay, is Avery okay in this photo or not? What in the world are we looking at here?
This is probably one of the most epic favorite photos of Avery ever.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I love this photo. She, not so much. I mean, and it's hard to believe. As an almost 16-year-old girl, she doesn't find this amusing. But I think this is an amazing photo, because she was we were at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, and they had like an armory. You could try stuff on, and we're like, give us a mean face. And that's what she did. And it's
that's her mean face.
Yeah, that was her mean face.
I don't see mean there. I just see, terrible uncomfortableness, and would rather be anywhere else on the planet than this moment.
Yeah, later she was riding a pony with ribbons trailing from her hair. So
this is an epic epic photo.
Yeah,
So
that's one of my favorites.
we have to embarrass Drake as well. What are we looking at here?
So this is not too long ago in our kitchen in Carbondale, and Drake, Jeff saw on Shark Tank, this guy was selling, they sold matching Hawaiian shirts for you and your dog. And Drake had decided he wanted to get a dog, and we suggested that he just take one of our 2 dogs to try it out. And now I don't think Scruffy wants to come home. So Scruffy and Drake have matching Hawaiian shirts on there, and yeah, they're styling, and they're the ladies on the campus are digging it. So
who can't dig it? Now both of your children are musically inclined. What are we looking at here?
that is Avery at her, so I guess it would have been her sophomore year because they didn't really have a freshman year on campus. So that's her sophomore year band preview night, and that is, she was playing drums. She's on the drum line, and they have a night where they do like a field show preview, and they let the parents come and watch it, and then they let us go out on the field, and we can like harass them and stuff while they're marching.
Very cool. And also, Drake is musically inclined. What is this? What's happening here?
So that is his former bedroom in our house, and he's playing one of his basses. That was one of the first ones that he bought on his own. He tracked this one down online, and it's a Fender Jazz bass, I believe. And the bassist that he really looks up to and has learned a lot from, Joe Dart. He played one of those at a time, and so Drake found one online and ordered it.
Something to purchase as your own. That's a big deal. So congrats to him.
Yeah.
Now, you and Jeff love, let's see, I've got a bunch of photos here. This next one, let's see. Here's a photo of you and the children.
That's me and both kids at a real football game. That's not a Northern Iowa game. That's a SIU Saluki football game. And I love to tailgate. There's a great group of people that we tailgate, and they have a bus, and it's full of all the tailgate equipment, and we set up tents, and we have a theme for the tailgate food. And so I talked the kids into going one time when Drake was there, and going to school, and we had a great time. And that's actually a jersey that they do a Coaches for Cancer or Blackout Cancer fundraiser every year, and you can bid on jerseys, and then you can get the name put on the back. So the back of that one says Patch Martin, and 72 is the year I was born.
Wow, very cool. Here is if I'm not mistaken, behind the scenes at a concert. What's going on here?
Yeah, so most of these pictures here in this little collage are from like the main one, and then the ones across the bottom, and then that middle, all the ones that kind of have the purple hue. That is Drake and Avery and I flew out to San Francisco. I guess it was the summer of 2019. So I think a lot of parents do this, like when your kid's about to make this big milestone, like his was graduating high school and then he was going off to Boston to college. I just like freaked out and thought I had to pack an entire lifetime of things in because I was never going to see him again.
Oh, no.
So we flew out to San Francisco to visit my brother, and we also, that visit coincided with a Wolfpack concert, and it was Avery's first Wolfpack concert. We went, and after the show, the main picture there, Woody Goss is their keyboard player, writes a lot of their songs. He saw us and invited us backstage. So we got to go backstage, and
Wow.
So that was Avery's first Wolf concert. The top one on the left side, the top one and the third one, those are from a different show where we saw them. But anyway, it was a great night, great trip with my kids, and
very cool.
Great adventures.
That's awesome. Here's some other photos. Now, the next couple of photos here, I believe, are have your father in it, right? This is your father, right?
Yeah. Yep. So he's soon to be 92-year-old dad. He lives with us, And he moved to Carbondale, I guess, in 2020. He sold his house and sold most of his stuff, and he moved down to Carbondale. He lived in a duplex for a while, and then actually when Jeff was at PAX South or PAX West last year in 21, I guess, yeah. We found out that he had stage 4 bladder cancer. So he was staying with us while he was doing treatments and stuff. And then Jeff and I kind of convinced him that it would just be easier for all of us if he just stayed there. So he stays with us now.
Right. So
and
this is you guys moving, right?
That is when, that was the week that my dad sold his house and the contents of his home. He had an auction. So those are my 3 awesome brothers. So from the left is my oldest brother, Dave. He was the one who was a senior when I was born. Wow. And then me, our dad. And then John, that is my brother. That's my youngest of the 3 brothers. And he lives in Illinois still. Dave lives in Oregon. John, in the camo shirt, he lives in Kewanee, where I grew up. And then on the right is my brother Jeff. He's the middle brother, and he lives in California.
And this is when your dad moved in with you guys, right?
Yeah, I think that was that fall. That was definitely in the fall because of the decorations on the front porch. And again, so that's Dave and John, me, Jeff, and then my dad.
Amazing. Very cool.
Oh, Mr. California, he's freezing. I have like a t-shirt on, and he's got a shirt and a leather jacket on.
You know what? And he's got dad shoes on. Your dad has dad shoes. I have those shoes. Those are grandpa shoes. I have those shoes.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't know that. Those are grandpa shoes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
All the grandpas who are watching recognizes those shoes. Those are grandpa shoes. Those are dad shoes or grandpa shoes.
Okay.
I also, the next couple of photos here are of you and Jeff doing something interesting. What was going on here?
Yeah, so that is our neighborhood before where we live right now. That we had a dinner club, and there were 6 couples, and we hosted every other month. One couple would host, and one particular month, the person that hosted had bought like a murder mystery dinner thing, like a whole kit, and so she needed some people to show up as, play roles, and then other people were just spectators. And so Jeff and I, of course, said, oh yeah, we're in, we'll dress up. So I was a witch, obviously, and he was the devil. So
very nice. He didn't do much different than his normal look, right? I don't see a lot of makeup or anything.
Rolled out of bed and went.
Just rolled out of bed, right? Speaking of amazing makeup and costume, what's going on here? You as Maleficent.
Yes, this was my cousin's wedding in the Ozarks, and my brother Jeff from California, he and I went to the wedding together. And he actually, do you remember the crow mask that we had for True Dungeon?
Maybe not. Maybe it was before I started.
Okay, well, he wore that, and he was Diaval, and I was Maleficent. And this is a picture with my Aunt Janet, who is one of my mom's sisters. And we all were in costume, and it was, like you go out of town for a wedding, and it's just like Friday night, like, what do you do? Because they're all busy with their rehearsal dinner and stuff. And it was so much fun because they had this costume party, and the whole weekend was just an amazingly fun weekend, and just great memories I cherish forever. So
wow, that's awesome. You guys look amazing here. So besides True Dungeon, you guys like traveling and doing other things. What are some of those things? And here's an example of one of those things.
Yeah, so SIU has a lot of great programs, unlike Northern Iowa, which and one of them is a glass blowing program. Not a lot of people know that that's there, and there's not many glass blowing programs in universities. I think there's, 30 some or something across the U.S. So we have one, and they advertised that they were going to offer a community class. It was, I think it was 3 hours a week, twice a week for 4 weeks. And so this was like right before my birthday, we found out about it. And Jeff said, hey, do you want to do this for your birthday? And I thought he meant just for me. And I was like, I love glass. I love colored glass. I love the pumpkin. So I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. And so I started the registration. He's like, no, do 2. Like, I'll do it with you. And I said, oh, awesome. That'd be more fun, And I was like, really? You want to do this? And he's like, yeah, I think it'd be cool. And I said, wow, so we're going to have like 8 date nights and we're not going to go to Walmart? That's amazing. So we did that. This was one of the final pieces that Jeff made, and it was a mug, which was a lot more, it was a lot more advanced technique than the first stuff we were making. But it was like the teacher, you can see Jackson there on the side. He's helping Jeff a little bit, but he was really amazing. And his assistant, Sam, they did a wonderful job teaching us. I mean, and we were literally in the glass furnace the first night. Like, we were in there collecting glass.
Wow.
And it wasn't like they do all the stuff and then you blow into the pipe. Like, we did all the stuff, blew the glass, he made the handle, attached the handle. It was very cool, very fun experience.
How about any of the things that either of you made? Have any of them survived?
Yeah, they all did.
They all did.
Yeah. Actually, made some.
Great. So I know you all like to travel as well. This is Jeff and Avery, right? Scuba diving or snorkeling, rather.
Snorkeling, yeah. That's them snorkeling in Maui. It's hard to see it, but she has a pool noodle under her arms.
Okay.
And
I see it. Sure.
Or buoyant, and she was really afraid to do it, and Jeff was like, just hold on to my hand, I won't let go. And so after that she was like, okay, I'm off, I'm doing it now. So it was really Jeff and I had gone, it was actually this time like 8 years ago or something. I saw that on my Facebook page today, 8 or 9 years ago, that we went together, and then we went back with the kids. My cousins have a condo in Maui, and we went there, and so then we went back and took the kids. It was a great trip. It's just really wonderful memories and fun time. There's Drake down in the water having a good time.
Yeah, there's Drake in the water as well. It sounds like lots of fun.
It was cool.
So here's another trip. This is you and Drake in Chicago. Is that right?
Yeah, that's us not all that long ago. We went up to Chicago. We drove up there. It was in February. And it was
cold.
We went up there for a Corey Wong show, and I said, let's just park the car, and then if you want to go do something, we'll go do it. We'll get an Uber or Lyft or whatever. And so he said, can we go down to Navy Pier? I'm like, are you nuts? It's freezing out there. But hey, he wanted to go to Navy Pier, so whatever, let's go to Navy Pier. So we went to Navy Pier. And I was very glad that I had a face mask and a True Dungeon hat in my pocket, because I was to death.
That is
when we
a
were
nice hat.
along Navy Pier, like walking towards the east, it was like you were literally like pushing against the wind to get out there. It was crazy.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago for 3 years. It is the Windy City for sure. Here's a photo of a warmer time.
That's actually just a couple months ago. That's the trip that I brought Jeff down here. We came down, Avery, my dad, Jeff, and I came down in March after my birthday trip. This was when I was going to convince him that this was really an awesome place and we should buy a second home and a investment rental home here. He
looks very distinguished here. He's almost got a little James Bond thing going on.
Yeah, it's the salt water. I think it agrees with him. He won't admit it, but...
All right, now this is something that you sent me, and it for those of you who do not know, this photo has a really wonderful story. Please share what's going on here, Laurie.
Yeah, so this photo is I gave. It's not the first time I gave blood. I gave blood when I was 18, and I passed out because you got extra points in government or something. But I passed out. And so during COVID, I was starved for human interaction that wasn't someone that lived in my house. So
okay.
I saw a thing. They were having a blood drive at a church down the road from our house. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go see if I can give blood again. I tried it when I was young and it didn't work out so hot. So I went down there and I made an appointment, and I went down there and I donated blood. And I just told the lady, literally, this is why I'm here, because I need to talk to someone that doesn't live with me. And so they weren't very busy. So she was like, okay. So we just sat and chit chatted and talked. It was awesome. And I give blood literally, like, I'm due to give blood right now. This is probably the first time that I've been more than a week out of, like, today's the day you can give blood, and I haven't done it within a week. So I think I'm a week out.
That's an amazing thing to do. So congratulations for giving life to others.
Thanks.
Now, on your list of hobbies, by the way, for everyone who's watching, we got a couple more photos here, and then we're going to be doing the drawing for a lucky subscriber. And if anyone has any final questions, please put them in chat. For those of you who do not know, let me make sure I get this right. Laurie is a mother clucker.
No, I own mother cluckers.
You own mother. See, I got it wrong. All right, so what are we looking at? So Laurie has a bunch of chickens, and this is some of those chickens. Okay, I got it wrong. So those are the mother cluckers. Sorry. You're sure you're
mother cluckers.
All right. Now, what in the world is with you and chickens? Why chickens, and how did this start?
Jeez, I don't. Oh, okay. So when we moved to the house that we live in now, one day I was there because we had a bunch of construction done before we moved in, and there were chickens in the backyard. I'm like, what the hell? We live in town. Like, what is going on here?
That you were buying or had bought?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, there's just chickens. Like, what is going on here? And then, so a friend of Drake's lived down the road, and he said, oh, yeah, that's the guy that lives like 2 doors down from you. He has chickens, and they probably just got out. And I'm like, wait a minute. We can have chickens here? Like, oh.
Here we go.
Yeah. So, yeah, I went through the process, and I got the permit, and I got the chickens.
Do you have a favorite chicken or a favorite egg that they lay?
I mean, I do like the blue and green ones just because they look cool, but actually, that's probably a little bit of a lie. I kind of do have a favorite chicken.
They're not watching the show, by the way. You can tell.
Well, maybe. Jeff might be out in the coop showing them, but I think she's like right there in the middle. Wait, go back to the last one. There's one called a Midnight Majesty Marin, and she's solid black. Yeah, so she's all the way to the left.
Okay, way left. Got it.
From here, but she has hairy feet. They're just the craziest looking things.
Okay, now this photo, I think we can see her. She's in the middle back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of see like she's lifting up one of her feet to run after me. And yeah, so she kind of looks like she has these big hairy slippers on. And it's really funny. And she lays what's called they call it a chocolate egg. And it's a big egg, and it is really dark brown. Like, it looks chocolate. It's not, but they all taste good, but yeah.
Now, John is asking, do they lay Easter eggs, blue and green? What pray tell do you mean?
Blue and green eggers. So I get blue. I actually don't have any white eggs anymore right now. I mean, you kind of like, you cycle them in and out, but right now I have brown, which different shades of brown, blue, and green.
So Sin Erez 3 is saying, try a blue cachin. They have hairy feet too.
Okay, cool.
And Eric says, does having hairy feet make her a hobbit chicken?
Maybe.
Of course. By the way, Yancey, did you email me? Let me check my email here on my phone. We'll see if Yancey emailed me that photo or not. All right, so he did. All right.
Okay, in that photo there.
So explain this photo while I go get this image.
Taking the photo, you can see my hair. So I'm like walking away from them, and I'm holding the phone up to take a picture of them because they like run after me. Not like aggressive, like they follow me, which is so funny.
So they chase you because do you think they're chasing you because you have food,
they know that usually when I'm coming out, they're either getting out or they're getting food or they're getting treats or they're getting something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now let me grab, I think there's one more chicken photo. What's going on in this one? And I think we can see your favorite one here, right?
Yeah. You can see a little bit of her hairy feet too. So, yeah, so I grow spices or I grow herbs in my garden for the chickens because there's different, there's different medicinal properties for stuff that they say is good for them. So
Okay.
I grow sage and oregano, and then I also give them garlic. And so with the whole bird flu thing, I thought, wait a minute. Now, oregano, you give them because it's supposed to be an antiviral, antibacterial. Bird flu is a virus, antiviral, oregano. So
Okay.
I give them, that's oatmeal. So I just dump oats in that silver thing. Then I just dump water in it. I don't cook it or anything, not that crazy. And then I walk down to my gardens and I just cut some oregano off and I start just cutting it into small shreds and then I stir it up and they eat it and they've so far stayed quite healthy. So
Now, is this an approved mixture or is this something you came up with?
I mean, I'm on like it's called Backyard Chickens and they have yeah, I know it's just crazy, but yeah, so there's a lot of, and then there's a book that it's kind of like the chicken Bible for, people that are.
Okay. The chicken Bible. Love it.
Yeah. And so they talk about how these different herbs are good for them and what they do. And so, yeah, I just thought, well, I mean, I've never had to medicate any of mine. So I feel like they're either incredibly healthy or it's doing something. I mean, I have had a few just randomly die, like that just happens.
Yeah.
But I've never had an illness go through and kill the whole flock.
We had chickens when I was little, so they need love, feed, and space. Yeah. So if you're giving them all of that, I think you're going to be fine. And Thomas says, actually grew up on a farm, and we had the chickens that laid the green eggs. So Thomas is familiar with those eggs. I didn't know. I just knew of white eggs and brown eggs. And I knew they were small and large. That's all I ever saw growing up. And Eric says that your mixture is awaiting FDA approval. We have a special bonus photo brought to you by Yancey. Wow.
The commitment to the role is incredible because he even has makeup on.
I missed
Either
this.
that or Barry has fabulous eyelashes. I'm not sure.
This is something else. Thank you, Yancey. Wow, this is the greatest thing of all time. We really appreciate this embarrassing photo.
That's a true collector's item right there.
Oh my God. I have two more photos here that I want to go through. This is from the early days of True Dungeon. What are we looking at here?
So this is one of the Jeff Cons. And
so this predates True Dungeon.
Well, it could or it may not. It's hard to say. It looks like the wall to me looks like it's a hotel. So that would be before they moved it. So it could go either way. Jeff would probably know because that board that's behind me is a game that he created. So, and when they had Jeff Con, I would usually go over, I guess on Saturday night, and I would cook and take food over to wherever they were. And then they would have like a big dinner and their awards ceremony and all that.
Very cool. All right, so one final photo here. And if anyone has any questions, final questions in the chat because we're about to do the drawing. What are we looking at here?
That's probably Jeff goofing off, and I'm probably doing somebody's ass on the phone, I'm guessing. That's at the Marriott early days of things. So it's hard to say, but I mean, it looks like it looks like I'm talking on a BlackBerry. So that was in the days of kind of sort of smart-ish phones. So he's probably like on the internet or something. I don't know.
Goofing off. So this is the early days of True Dungeon. We can see who truly did all the work back in those days. All right. Speaking of work, I am now going to pull up this screen here. What you're looking at here is, if you look hard, you can find your name if you're a subscriber to True Dungeon Talk with Trent. And as I said in all the social posts, a subscriber who has their subscriptions are public. Even if you subscribe to me, I look at the numbers, and the number is actually higher than the number of people that I see. And the difference is because those people have marked their subscriptions as private. So if you don't see your name here, you check, you probably have it marked as private. And maybe if you want it to be public, then you could be in future drawings. Laurie has, as you know, offered a special gift from her that I didn't know about for a subscriber of True Dungeon Talk with Trent. So here we go. Let's see who's going to win this special. Gilstrife says he doesn't see his name. All right, so you sure, Gilstrife? Hold on. I'm going to check Gilstrife. Let's go back to this photo here. Oh, speaking of that, for anybody who's in the chat, why don't we do a quick little, I'm going to do a on-the-fly call here. Tell me if you don't see your name. And let me go, let's just look at this photo of Barry. And I'm going to go to, hold on, I'm going to go look. I'm going to see if you're here. Gilstrife, is Gilstrife your name? Actually, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to put that in the list. Never mind. Hold on. I'm going to add that to the list. No. Okay. Hope I'm not private. So I'm going to check real quick to see if you're private. You are not private, Nicholas. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, so Gilstrife, I named you, or added you rather. And don't forget to like this session. Oh yeah, thank you for saying that. All right, so Kirk, I'm going to check you real quick. I don't think you mind here. All right, check. Kirk, I don't see you. So I'm going to add you, Kirk. Probably could have. I need to get one of those people who moderate. So Kirk, you are set as private, so I'm going to add you. Arnold, I will check. Arnold, you are not private, Arnold. Glenn, can't read, so I'm going to check to see if you're private. Glenn, you are private, so I'm glad you guys are telling me this. I'm going to check now. Okay, Glenn, you have now been added. David says he doesn't know about his settings, so I'm going to check. David, you are not here, David, so I will add you. I'm glad I asked. All these people wouldn't have had a chance. Okay, and Hack wants me to check. All right, so I'm going to check here. You are there, Hack. Let's see. Kurt, if you Google that, you'll see it, how to change it. Mr., you are not there. So Mr., the people I'm telling you that I'm adding you, I mean, you are set to private, just so you know. And could you check for me as well for Krista? Okay, I'm checking Krista. Krista, you are set to private as well. So I'm going to add you to the list. Very entertaining show we have here. John, okay, last call. I'm going to check to see if John, you are also set to private. So I'm going to add you as well. And there we go. All right, so let me go back to this screen. And here we go. All right, thank you. Here we go. now, thank you for all the people who have subscribed to True Dungeon Talk with Trent. For the people who's, as I said, that I added your name, please go change your privacy settings. If you Google it, you'll find it for future drawings like this. And here we go. Let's see who is the winner. Oh, it's so exciting. Bridget Anderson. I don't know if you noticed. Can you see?
It was really close to Jeff Martin, wasn't it?
It was almost Jeff Martin, who we would have. I talked to Laurie about this. If Jeff won, I was going to delete it, but I did want to see if he would have won, which would have been hilarious. But Bridget Anderson is the winner. So now you know. Is Bridget watching here?
I know how to get a hold of her.
Oh, so you know Bridget Anderson. So there we go. So I was going to reach out to them, but to her. So if you know how to reach out to Bridget Anderson, congratulations to Bridget Anderson for the special prize. Oh, speaking of that, what is this special prize, Laurie?
The special prize is I am going to get together a grab bag of favorite things of mine from the office. So I'm not sending you like my stapler or an Excel spreadsheet, but I'm going to send you some True Dungeon swag from the office.
Okay, there we go. There is the winner of the special Mother's Day drawing from Laurie Martin. Thank you, Laurie, for a very entertaining and amazing interview. I had a lot of fun. The time flew by. It's almost been 2 hours, which is unbelievable. It kind of felt like 30 minutes to me. So I'm a bad watch clock, or a clock watcher rather. So I'll let you go. And again, thank you so much for spending time with us. And thank you everybody who was watching. And congratulations again to Bridget.
Thank you to everybody for actually tuning in. I'm a little humbled that anybody wanted to see anything I have to say. And thank you to Trent for hosting.
It's an honor and a sincere pleasure. Thank you very much again for being on the show. I hope we can do it again. Perhaps we can make it a yearly Mother's Day special.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Thank you again, Laurie. Have a good day. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See you next time. All right, that was Laurie Martin, the mother of True Dungeon. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends and enemies. I really do appreciate it. All the algorithm stuff is really good for the show. Thank you very much. Until next time, my favorite thing to say when it comes to things like this is remember it's very hard to frown when you're smiling, so please smile.